And we are go. There we are. Right, so welcome to the painting live stream. You guys in this camera here are watching the close-up video. There's another video on the YouTube channel which has a camera pointing at me from over there. People on that camera are on Instagram live. So if you're only watching this video and you like the opportunity to ask questions when I do these things, then go and join my Instagram page and keep your eye on when I do live streams for each stages on whatever it is I do. And that way you get to interact with the lesson that's going on. Really recommend doing that because that's what I like to do. I like to teach, and an instructional video doesn't actually answer all questions or deal with anybody's eventual problems. It doesn't help you troubleshoot necessarily. So that's what this is all about. So in the last video we worked our flesh up on the Myrmidon up to rack our flesh, and we're going to highlight this now with a bit of pallid witch flesh in there. Here we go. So I've already actually done most of the model, and I've done most of the model all apart from this area here, which is the back of his neck, or all this area. And the reason I've done that is because the back of his neck actually contains everything I want to work on. It contains his skin, it contains his markings, it contains his furry stuff, it contains some of this strapping, and it contains some of this metal. So I can do a little bit of everything. Alright, so here we go. Let's get a bit of rack half on the palette here. Alright, okay. A little touch of this in. Now remember, the nature of this project is not to be too fussy. It's kind of to go with the flow a little bit. Not trying to impress anybody, not trying to win any trophies or anything like that. I'm just kind of having fun, which really should be the priority for this hobby, for everybody really. There we go. Wet my brush, diffuse a couple of these lines. There we go. Nice highlight right along the top bar there. This big meaty part of his neck. Let's do. Now it's a little bit tricky going in between these markings, but I can use this stage as a chance to neaten up the markings a little bit as well. But like I said again, I'm not too bothered about mistakes, whatever you deem a mistake. There's absolutely no pressure to perform in any high quality way with this. I want you guys kind of practicing letting go of perfection. Doesn't mean we won't attack some kind of perfection-based project later on. Maybe we will. So, one thing to watch out for in these videos is little subtleties of what I do or don't do with my brush. You'll kind of see that I've kind of blended that. And did anybody see how I blended that? Little wiggles of my brush side to side. See? I just want to do this a little bit different than I did before. There we go. Yeah, cool. Give the brush a little squeeze. Alright, then you see how quick and easy I'm actually making this skin, because I'm pretty much done, if I'm honest. Don't really want to do it much lighter than that, because I don't want, so high contrast things really create visual impact, and the bit I want to have visual impact is the pattern on his skin, like this. Yeah, visual impact. So I don't really want to push the light part of his skin too much anyway. There we go. Let's do his little sinews in his neck. That vein I'll tackle separately later on. Yay, brilliant. Right, so let's see if there's any questions over on the live stream. Cool, that was straightforward enough. Okay, let's have a look. No questions, which is good. Right, okay, let's get rid of these. Next thing, so we did the markings in dry bark last vid or a couple of vids ago or what have you, and I said I wanted to do something a little bit snazzy with them. For that I've chose Scrag Brown and Fire Dragon Bright, and for this again we're just going to stay a little bit rough. Some might call it stippling, call it what you want, it doesn't change the action of it. Too many labels for things that aren't that easily quantified, you know. So what I mean by that is what some people call stippling isn't the same as what other people call stippling. For example, like Dave Soper uses this kind of scribble idea and just random things, but it's different to what you would use a stippling brush for example. You know, so watch out for things like that, because there's different. You could say then there's different styles of stippling. So just the word stippling in itself does not describe what you need to make the job actually work. So here we go. So I've just kind of mixed a little bit of these together, and I'm just roughly gonna splat on some patches. Yeah, might have done a little bit thin there, but I'm not too bothered. These are all going to go haphazard just inside each of his little spiky stripe things. Now, while we're waiting for that to dry, we're just going to get the brush in a nice neat formation like this. Yeah, it's got paint on it, nice and neat. There's no blobs of paint on it. And we're just going to go sideways up each of these hairy things. Some people call this overbrushing. Again, I don't really care what it's called, just get it right. Yeah, if you've got too much on your brush, the paint effect is not subtle enough. Yeah, because we want it like this. We want a nice fade from dark to orange. Yeah, there's not too much on your brush. Look, see what I mean? There's no blobs, there's no puddles. Yeah, so while that's now drying, I can go back and I can reinforce some of these patches. Now, the stripes on his back, I don't really mind if the paint's not dried fully or if we create watermark, because it's those patches and those watermarks that kind of create that texture I want in there. So I'm not too bothered, but other areas I would be bothered about that. Yeah, so here we go. Do all these things. Cool. That's enough of that. Right, get rid of the dry bark. Give brush a quick wash. Let's grab some pure Scrag Brown. Brilliant. And we just repeat that process. Maybe getting a little bit smaller and finer with each of the stages. We're going to be going all the way up to Fire Dragon. See here, I've just left this a little bit more spotty and dotty. Brilliant. Each time I do this highlight layer on his mane, I do it a little bit higher up because I want the fade to go to orange. Notice I keep my brush in a nice formation. Yeah, nice shape. Brilliant. Let's add a bit of orange to that, eh? Let's add a bit of orange. And you guys on Instagram Live watching and listening to me do this, if you've got any questions, then give me a shout. If you've got any questions about some of the previous videos I've put on YouTube to do with this guy, give me a shout. There we go, some mad randomness. part of me thinks maybe I've done this bit a little bit too bright, but as with wet paint, when it dries, it'll dry a little bit more see-through, and it'll dry a little bit darker and a little bit duller. So I'll make that judgment call in a little bit. So again, you can see I'm working pretty free and easy. Could be going in, do every individual hair like this, but like I say, this isn't that type of project. I'm trying to get you guys to let go and just get models finished. There's not enough. There's too many people loving painting. Too many people saying they want to get better at painting, but not enough models being finished. The way to get better at painting is to finish more models, and that's the bit folk don't forget. What stops them finishing models? Well, enthusiasm. So in order to keep your enthusiasm up, let go of your perfectionisms. Like, you know, so a lot of people like get frustrated and they go, oh, I'm no good at this, I want to give up. Well, I kind of, this is the project that is me telling you, be no good at it, enjoy being no good at it, because that's what makes you get better. Yeah, still keep your striving to improve, but stay persevering. Yeah, you see, I'm not doing anything special, fancy, advanced, blah 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 here, at least not obviously anyway. There we go. Let's compare him to that side. Yeah, nearly done. Just get a little bit more texture into his little marking things here. I think we'll move on. So now I'm for the texture, I'm moving more into the realm of actual dots. Brilliant. Well, I almost decided to go hair by hair individually then, which I will do at some point, but I'm doing it that way to make sure that the colour goes on pretty strong. So actually, let's do that now. Let's have a quick comparison side by side. Yeah, both sets of stripes look okay. Right, so set my brush up. Nice, good point. Eagle-eyed viewers might notice I'm using a massive brush today. I was using quite a standard size brush in the last few videos. Now I'm not, and again, that's a good example set to you guys. Stop being too fussy about everything. Too many people being too fussy and passing it on to people who don't know any better. Then all you're really doing is spreading fussiness where it's not necessarily practical. You can get great results with some not so what's the term? I was going to say not so ideal tools, but almost all tools are ideal if you kind of understand their properties and how to use them. Yeah, to be blaming your tools is not necessarily too clever. I mean, it's also can be clever, because if you've got a brush that really doesn't work and you can't make it work because it's too old and too stuffed, then that's your choice, innit? So you've got to choose one that does work. But at the same time, complaining that brushes are too big and things like that, it's not always true. You can use massive brushes to great effect. Do you like my little ramblings? Sometimes I think I almost don't make sense to people. But there you go. Let's dot a few more of these things in up here, and then I think we'll call this bit done. Nice. Alright. Brilliant. So, 2 bits left to go, which is the we've got the metal bits and the metal bits and the strappy leather bits. Let's do the metal bits first. Not the metal bits, sorry, the strap bits. It looks like we've got a question. Mr. Dunbar says you're always hearing about transferring Citadel paints from pots to droppers. I don't. You don't. That's me, as opposed to the person asking the question, which is interesting. Would I mind sharing my prefer? Right. So I don't think there's any such thing as an ideal pot. I think they're all crap in some way. All right. They're all great in some way. Most of the reasons people give me about dropper bottles, wastage and portion size and things like that. There's wastage no matter what pot you choose. Next, the lid, that unscrewing this and screwing it back on again between decanting paint out drives me nuts. The next thing that drives me nuts is these things clog. You give them an extra squeeze and it comes squirting out at a million miles an hour. Does me head in. It's not always possible to shake these things properly, and you get what do you call it, building up in there, like medium building up in the nozzle, and that won't shake out, and blah 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 blah. Don't care. These things, yeah, alright, they dry out a little bit too quick and the lids don't stay open. But I tell you what, for the efforts of either way, I can't be arsed sitting there decanting all my stuff into small bottles. I can't think of a crap of wasting my time. So I don't care. Let's just crack on painting, you know. So that's an example of people being extra fussy for not a lot of real return. Let's see if there's any other comments. No. Right, brilliant. Okay, so we're going to get Abaddon Black. And we're going to water it down a little bit. And we're just going to apply it randomly. Yeah. You notice all my brush strokes are going to be biased towards one side of the leather. So in this case it'd be this underside, because I kind of want it fading out this way. I also want it to be a little bit rough and patchy again. There we go. And then let's water it down a little bit more. And that watered down a little bit more is just going to get washed all over. Could I use a wash? Yeah. Am I using a wash? No. Do I care? No. Should you? No. Unless you're finding it fun to care and fun to do it something else. Yay. Yeah, because that's the point. Let's give all this a quick blast with the Spice Weasel, the hairdryer. Yes, hairdryer jobber. Here we go. Always hair dry down and away from your table, never at your table. You don't want to dry your paint, your brush, your pot. You only want to dry your model. So you see we're kind of getting a fade up to black here, and it's a little rough fade, kind of made of textures, so I'm going to be a little bit heavier in there. Just going to put a little outline, a little black line around some of the areas. Put some dark lines in some of the nicks. Maybe a little bit more fussy than that. I'm not going to be fussy than that, should I say. Brilliant. Brilliant. Alright, and let's wash this again. Just really darken it down. It appears the gunmetal by Army Painter has changed. It appears to be a different kind of metallic paint. So I find that a little bit strange. I was a little bit gutted to find that as well, because I picked it up thinking it would be very much like the old one. But it isn't. It seems brighter, and it seems to behave in a different way. And I've got cramp in me side of my hand. I don't know what that's about. Right there. Rods Mods, hello, good evening. So there we go. We'll let all that dry. Now I'd do the black wash on the metal, or the black wash on the strap as many times as I felt I need to make it as dark as I'd like it. So we did the metal, not the metal, sorry, the strap work on him, his webbing. We did that brown originally, and that brown was very close to his markings. So I've used a shade to change the colour and insinuate a black leather. Yeah, and I've used a highlight, the orange and scrag brown on these markings to insinuate a different type of material and pattern. So I've taken those colours in two different directions, you know, and those colours that were once very close. So that's maybe an idea you want to play with, you know. Okay, so next thing, dead quick, dead easy. I'm almost going to let that dry, and to a degree I don't really want the metals to shine any more than that. I don't really feel the need to highlight them. I don't consider them too much of a feature. I might on something a bit more high standard, but right now I don't mind. There we go. So you see the consistency I'm kind of working with there on the palette, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to do lots of little nicks. I'm going to make them slightly longer where there's like a long wide split. Now I could do a line right along like this, but I want it to appear slightly rough. You've got to make these lines small, though. Got to make them small, but also make them random. Don't be too deliberate with them. There we go. Like a little rough tattered edge. You have long brush stroke where there's a split in it. Brilliant. Oops, a little bit too heavy there. So, what have I used? Storm Vermin Fur. So originally we had the dark brown Rhinox hide. Then we added this black wash, and then we had the Storm Vermin Fur, which is a very grey brown colour. It's more grey than it is brown, but at times I think is it more brown than it is grey. Well, the grey and the black over the Rhinox insinuate more that this object is erring onto the side of being black. So there you go. And a lot of folk might perceive that as black, though the base coat is brown. Yeah, the shade is black, the highlight is Storm Vermin Fur, which is a weird warm grey. Some might call it brown, but whatever. And there you go. Easy as that. Yeah, quite enjoying this guy so far. So what's next to do? Well, there's his weapon, his shield, his hooves, and his face, which includes his horns. So we'll see how we break that down in a couple more episodes of this. In the meantime, if you guys have got any questions and what have you, honestly, get them onto the YouTube video. Join the live stream next time I have it, and yeah, enjoy your time chilling and painting. You guys, if you want to win this, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment on the video. He's pretty cool. He's my challenge piece. Somebody challenged me to paint this as quick as I could. This is my 2-hour paint job, and it needs to go to a better home. Yeah, he's a lovely model, and he just needs to go to a place where he could be learned from, appreciated, and maybe slung on a gaming table. 2-hour paint job, easy peasy, smash it out. Yeah, see, I think that's a great paint job, if I'm honest, and I think there's a fine example of great paint jobs don't need to be laborious and time consuming. Yeah, it can be smart. So a couple of cans of spray, you know, I sprayed it blue grey, the fang from underneath first, then I sprayed it Death Guard green from all around, then a little light spray of Avalon Sunset in his face, brown, dry brushed, washed, brown, dry brush, washed, all the metal, blah blah blah, guts, base coat and washed, that's it. You know, to make his eyes stand out with a lovely bright white. Just smashed it all on as quick as I could. There you go. So yeah, this guy just needs to go to a good home. So please be that home. Subscribe to my channel, leave a comment on the video, and I'll choose somebody who's done both of those things at the end of doing the Ogroid Myrmidon. Alright guys, cheers for joining me this week, and let me know how you get on. Goodbye. Have fun.